We're talking the latest NBA news and draft rumors on today's show, but do you want a new 2024 NBA mock draft? We're just about 20 days away from round one getting underway. If you want a new mock draft coming up in a couple days, type me down below. We got some rumors to talk about when it comes to the first round of the NBA draft. The first storyline is Donovan Clingan and the pursuit for the UConn center because there is a lot of interest surrounding the big man from Connecticut. Then we'll talk Devin Carter and DaRon Holmes because the two of those guys might have received the promise, solidifying where they will be drafted in the first round of the NBA draft. We'll talk about both those prospects. But first, we have some unfortunate news to share with everyone, and it's that a top 5 prospect in my eyes, he was actually ranked number 2 on my big board prior to this news coming out. Nikola Topic has a partially torn ACL. That is according to Draft Express and Jonathan Gavoni. That came out during the NBA Euro combine and when he got the NBA medical, and it's unfortunate that Topic does have that. Now his agent, this is probably his agent talk, says that he does not believe his draft stock will be affected by this news, and he's expected to make a full recovery. The knee is still intact. There's no other damage there, and because of his youth, he'll likely be fine, which is probably the case long term, but Topic probably going to miss at minimum the first half of the NBA season. That's my guess. Unfortunate to see one of the top prospects have this injury. All right, let's get into Donovan Clingan, and that's where we'll start because there is a lot of love to go around on the big man, the 7-footer from UConn, and teams are apparently thinking of trading up to go get Clingan. I'll be curious to see where he ends up going on draft night, but ESPN's Zach Lowe had a little nugget the other day that he said the Portland Trailblazers, who picked 7th overall in the first round, is the absolute floor for Donovan Clingan. Now, obviously, it could be smokescreen season with just under 3 weeks to go till the draft to kind of jockey for different prospects and positions, try to get people to offer trades if not. But the Blazers, who have DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams, 2 centers that can never stay on the floor and are not very good in terms of Ayton affecting winning basketball, it would make sense for Portland to be intrigued in Donovan Clingan. But who else could be, and could they have a trade up? Clingan measured very well at the NBA Combine. He's just an absolute mammoth of a human being. 7'1" 3/4 without shoes, which means when he's playing hoops, it's about 7'2 and a half, 7'3". Great wingspan at 7'6 3/4. That's a +5 wingspan. That is just terrific for a center, and it's terrific for any player really in the NBA. He weighs in solid, which affects his mobility and lateral quickness, but he's stocky, 282. He is not going to be bullied inside, that is for sure, and comes with a standing reach of just an unbelievable 9 feet and 7 inches. Damn near can dunk the basketball without even having to jump off the floor. And in his second season for the Huskies, he was great. Obviously, in his true freshman season, UConn won the national championship. He was backing up Adama Sanogo, who went in the second round as a UDFA to the Chicago Bulls last year. But Clingan, as the starter, only played in 22 and a half minutes, and that is a concern for him because due to his size, foul trouble, he just was never able to play more than 3/4 of the games. But if he's able to get that projected 30 minutes, he'd be averaging 16 and a half points, 10 rebounds. He shot 65% from the field and swatted away 2.5 shots. He is as good as a defensive rim protector as you'll find. I think he probably is the best rim protector in this NBA draft. Sure, Zach Edey's a bigger prospect, but Clingan just has a better knack for helping off the weak side and being able to reject shots in trail in coming at you, and he uses that 9'7" standing reach to really disrupt other guards from trying to put a floater over them. And I know it's aggressive to comp him to a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, but Rudy Gobert really feels like where Clingan's ceiling is. He can be the best rim protector in the NBA if he reaches his full potential, but will always have that concern of getting targeted in pick and rolls, like Gobert has been getting targeted in the postseason throughout his career. When you get crafty guards who know how to leverage space, screens, and distance between you two to get open shots and drive by you, that is a legit concern for Clingan. Not sure if he could go out to the perimeter and guard some of these guys, but has a potential to be a 2.5, 3 block shots per game type of player and anchor a defense in the paint. Now, the interested teams surrounding Clingan are these. Obviously, we mentioned the Blazers, but there's reports that the Memphis Grizzlies, who have the 9th overall selection, have Clingan very high on their draft board, if not the number one target they'd like to acquire. And there's been a lot of buzz about the Grizzlies trying to trade up with the Houston Rockets, who hold the 3rd overall pick, to potentially move up to that spot and draft Donovan Clingan. It'd be a fascinating duo with Jaren Jackson Jr., who can play the 4, and Clingan at the 5 and have a really big front court, or you could have Jaren Jackson Jr. play the 5 and have Clingan come off the bench at least to start your career. There's also some buzz that Chicago, the Bulls, would like to move up for Clingan. They need to move off Vucevic, so maybe they trade him and then try to get up for Clingan. And the Hawks, they have the number 1 overall pick, and I would be stunned if he went number 1 overall. I think it's either Zachary Risaye or Alex Sarr, But if the Hawks, who reportedly, and there's a slight rumor out there, could trade back with San Antonio to 1 to 4 and pick up some other draft capital, they could take him at 4, as Quinn Snyder really likes Clingan. And it would make sense because Snyder had the Jazz as the top team in the West when he was coaching there, with guess who is his center? Rudy Gobert. So make the prediction for me. Which team will draft Donovan Clingan? Is it one of the 4 teams I just mentioned? Is it a sleeper team? Who will draft the 7-footer from UConn, who just had 2 unbelievably good years in college basketball? Let me know your prediction down below. All right, is Devin Carter, the Providence guard, a lock to go in the NBA lottery? He was projected as a second-round pick in the middle of the college season, late first-round pick once the season ended, and now it feels like his stock is rising more than anyone in the NBA draft. And there is a report from Kevin O'Connor that he received a promise from someone picking in the lottery. And I think he is a lottery-type player. In my most recent big board that we put out a week ago on the channel, he was my 10th ranked prospect, which was an 8-spot difference from the previous big board I put out on the channel where he was 18th. He has had a historic rise from second round to lottery due to his great size, athleticism, and the way he was able to take over that Providence team once Bryce Hopkins, who was a 20-point-per-game scorer for the Friars, tore his ACL in the middle of the year. Carter was asked to step up, and he did. We'll talk more about Devin Carter in a second and who these teams that made that promise could be, but make sure you are started with Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app out there. More than 5 million people play Prize Picks on a daily basis, and if you haven't started already, I don't know what you're doing. And if you are a Prize Picks user, well, guess what? You know why it's the best. Daily specials, including discounted stat totals on Tuesdays. You can get your money back if you don't win an entry on Friday due to Flex Play Friday. They also have demons, goblins to increase your payout, lower your payout, but lower your risk, increase your risk. They have everything that you could probably or possibly ask for to have the most fun. And when the NBA Finals tip off tonight on Thursday evening, you need to have an entry for that Game 1. I got more than on Daniel Gafford, 6 rebounds, more than Derek White, 14.5 points, and then less than on Jason Tatum, 27.5 points, 3-player entry to win 5 times my money. But you could turn 10 into 1,000 right now with as little as 4 correct entries by playing Prize Picks. So download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. You can also go in the description and comments where I put that link for you, prizepicks.com/CLNS. One more time, code CLNS. Get a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. Prize Picks, that simple. I mentioned Devin Carter's elite measurements. It is something to be seen. Only came in at 6'2 1/4, which was a little bit of concern for his height, but the wingspan is just absolutely egregious. A plus 6.5 wingspan is unheard of, folks, especially for a guard. You can see that happen with some wings where you have like a 6'7", 6'8", but have a 7'2" wingspan. You just do not see this with a 6'2" guy have that plus of a wingspan. It allows him to just absolutely dominate the glass, especially when you have a 42-inch vertical to pair up with those long arms. I mean, we're talking about a guard who averaged 8.5 rebounds a game in the Big East. I don't know if you guys watch college basketball, but the Big East is not no pushover conference. That is some physicality. That is real Northeast hoops, baby. And he was able to be the epitome of Big East basketball. And I mentioned, he wasn't the best scorer. That was not his role. He was a 13 to 14 point per game guy when they had Bryce Hopkins, who was a 20 point per game scorer at Providence. He tore his ACL halfway through the year. Devin Carter was asked by his coach, Kim English, to step up and take that primary scoring role. He did just that, scoring 19.7 points per game, but he did it efficiently. He's able to score at the rim at a very high rate due to his great ability to finish on top of you because of his 42-inch vertical, but also the wingspan and those long arms to finish above you and get out the outstretched hands and arms of NBA and college centers. And he also displayed a good shot, shooting 37.5% from beyond the arc. Now, the shot form isn't pretty, but Devin Carter, in an interview with Kevin O'Connor, said, what does it really matter what it looks like as long as it goes in? Could not agree more. But my comp for him is a smaller Josh Hart. Hart, obviously, for the New York Knicks has been a revelation ever since coming over from the Portland Trail Blazers, and Hart's just been phenomenal and playing a winning role alongside Brunson. I think Devin Carter can do the same thing. Probably project him more as a 2 rather than Josh Hart playing the 3 or small ball 4. But due to his stockiness, his athleticism, and his wingspan, he can play that exact Josh Hart role in the backcourt or even as a small ball 3. So the question is, what team made the promise for Devin Carter that he is a lottery lock? I got these 4 teams in mind. The Grizzlies, if they don't trade up for Donovan Clingan, I think could be an excellent addition for or spot for Devin Carter at number 9 because they added Marcus Smart last offseason to play with Ja Morant. That didn't really work out. Obviously, Ja didn't play for most of the season. There's some rumors that they could move Marcus Smart this offseason in a potential trade. Maybe they draft Devin Carter to be the replacement or be that lead guard off the bench. The Bulls are a team that is interesting, and Kevin O'Connor actually mocked Devin Carter to Chicago in his most recent mock draft. Could be a DeMar DeRozan replacement. And then these 2 teams, the last 2 picks of the lottery, 13 for the Kings, 14 for the Warriors. Both of them could use Carter's services, especially Sacramento, who is likely going to lose Malik Monk in NBA free agency. He could be the replacement off the bench as that 6-man type guard. And then Golden State also needs winning basketball players to pair with Steph Curry. I think if Klay Thompson leaves in free agency, Podziemski probably takes that starting lineup spot, but Devin Carter could be that 6th man. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we will be live for both rounds. Yes, you heard both rounds. They're 2 different days this year. They also came out with the days, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Night 1, Wednesday, June 26th. How about this? 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Day 2 on Thursday afternoon. So subscribe to the channel because I'll be live for both rounds. All right, let's wrap up today's show with DaRon Holmes, the center from Dayton, because he has canceled a lot of his private workouts with teams, and there's speculation that a team has made a promise in the late first round that they will take him there, assuming he is still available. Well, who could that team be? There's a lot of speculation that it could be the former NBA champions, Denver Nuggets, as they have been looking for another big man to play with and behind Nikola Jokic for some time now. They attempted to find that in Zeke Naji a couple of years ago in the NBA draft, but that has not worked out. You even saw DeAndre Jordan get some PT over the regular season this past year. They need to find a long-term answer alongside Jokic. Now, Aaron Gordon fits that role perfectly now, but you don't know how long that's going to last, but particularly as that backup center. We'll talk about that fit in just a second. But let me know, do you believe the Nuggets would have given DaRon Holmes, the former Dayton Flyer, a promise that they'd take him in the first round? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Look at Holmes' measurements here because I do think this is key when talking about his potential fit in the NBA. He's not the tallest center. He came in at 6'8 3/4, which there are NBA centers that are that size. Isaiah Stewart's a little bit undersized. Bam Adebayo's only 6'9", so it is possible. And that 7'1" wingspan is definitely something that can help for his ability to guard NBA centers. He's got a decent standing reach, but to me, he's a little bit of a tweener. I like his athleticism for his size, but he's very similar in Karl-Anthony Towns' perspective of like Sure, they probably should be a center, but the team, if it is the Nuggets, might ask him to play some of the 4. And can he do that on the defensive side of the ball? The offensive side of the ball has to come a long way. He was dominant in the A-10 a year ago, averaging 20 points a game and 8.5 boards while shooting quite efficiently. He was also the defensive player of the year in the A-10, averaging 2+ blocks a contest. But I don't know if he has the lateral quickness and ability to be a 4 in the NBA. I don't. That is my biggest concern with Holmes. Now, I believe there is a chance where he can work out as a small ball center, potentially, behind Nikola Jokic, if you look specifically at that fit. But I just don't know if he can play the 4 in the NBA, and I don't know if he's able to really move his feet laterally and guard some of the other 4s in the NBA. So Karl-Anthony Towns do it. He was able to become an above-average defender this year alongside Rudy Gobert. Can Holmes do the same thing? I'm skeptical, but I guess that remains to be seen. Any question you have on the NBA draft can be asked over on my Twitter, at Nic_Rohloff. Go give me a follow. I'll answer any questions you have. My DMs are open, so if you have a question surrounding the NBA draft, follow me at Nic_Rohloff and go shoot it down below.